I wake up today and I can already feel the humidity. Ugh, today is gonna be gross. Even inside my tail is already starting to get frizzy. It's going to be so hard to get it back to normal. Don't worry, Luna, your tail will still be the softest and fluffiest in existence, even if it's affected by humidity. Even if that's true, it still makes me uncomfortable when my tail frizzes out. I walk downstairs and get breakfast. It seems I'm not the only one suffering from the humidity either. The proprietress's ears and hair are also being affected. After eating, I walk outside and feel the full humidness of the world. I walk over to where Velvet and I are supposed to meet and find I have arrived first. I guess I'm earlier than I thought I was. Will you go back inside to wait? Nah, I'll stay out here and get used to the feeling since we'll be out here all day anyway. As me and Tamamo were conversing, Velvet finally got here. I see you're the early one today, Luna. Not by much, but yeah. Anyway, shall we head west today? Sure. Which area over there do you want to start with? Blacksmiths, alchemists, or apothecaries? I'd say blacksmiths since their shops will be the most uncomfortable due to today's weather. Then there we shall go. I've been needing to visit a blacksmith anyway to get my weapon checked. Is something wrong with your weapon? A few segments of the blade became a bit yanked when I was stalling the undead bear. I was going to ask a blacksmith if I can have it repaired or if I need to get a new one. Speaking of your weapon, is it normal or did you have it specially made? It's a weapon that my whole family uses, so we have them commissioned from blacksmiths. The place I'm taking you today is the specific blacksmith that my family has a connection to in this city. Would you so happen to have the family name of Belmont? Yes, though that name only means anything in vampire society. My family aren't nobles of any kingdom but are an old clan of vampires that have been around for centuries, so we are considered vampire nobility. Why do you ask? No reason, it's just a funny thing from something in my previous life. Would you tell me the details? You see, as far as I'm aware, in my previous world, vampires and many other things that would be considered normal here were works of fiction that didn't exist, or at least treated that way. There was a specific piece of entertainment where you played as a character whose family were vampire hunters and that family's name was Belmont and one of the weapons they used was a whipsword. I don't know how to respond to that. I can explain some of that if you want. Goddess? Will you? This might be interesting. Well, in your previous world, Luna, most of the monsters, with a few exceptions, that were represented in fiction came to be from people with the aptitude for divination. When they thought up characters for monsters and other things, they were actually unconsciously using divination to see into this world. A notable example would be that one author H.P. Lovecraft. He would constantly see fiends and write about them. So, the basis for eldritch horrors were fiends. Does that mean fiends will drive you insane for just looking at them? No, not necessarily. There was one that did that, but it was killed a long time ago with the help of a master of space magic. You shouldn't go insane from looking at something if you don't look at it. But isn't it necessary for a hero and saint to finish off a king of fiends? Yes, but that particular person had a unique skill that shared the effects of magic with those in his party. He just had to cast that high-level space magic, then use that skill. Does that mean Luna will be able to use that spell soon? She will when she maxes out her space magic level, but it'll take a lot of practice to use. Most space magic users who get to that level are usually so old that they use that skill to see since their eyes become bad due to age. Sounds like it will be useful in making maps in dungeons. You could even take cartography requests from the guild as well. How well do those requests pay? Depends. If they are put up in the guild as a request from the country, they pay extremely well. If they come straight from the guild, the pay is still good, but less than ones from the country. These are normally for dungeon cities like you were thinking earlier. Why would they pay less for dungeon maps? People die a lot more in dungeons, so they pay less in case the cartographer dies in the middle of the job. While listening to Velvet talk about dungeon mortality rates, I started to get some unpleasant flashbacks. Hey Luna, are you feeling alright? You're really pale? It seems like I might have some negative feelings related to dungeons, considering what happened before. After hearing what I said, Velvet remembered what we talked about yesterday and started to go pale. Sorry, I didn't think about how you might feel about that. It's fine, I didn't know it would affect me as much either, considering I died basically instantly. I guess this is the reason I need to go and conquer the dungeon in the Celestia Kingdom. We continued to walk in an awkward silence until we entered the part of the city with blacksmith forges and shops lining the street. I could hear the sounds of hammering from many of the buildings on this street. Where is the place we're going? It's closer to the center of this district, so we're quite close to the shop. It's about a 10-minute walk from here. What is the smith we're seeing today like? He's an old dragonkin who studied under a dwarf that was famous for crafting a hero's weapon a few hundred years ago. That detail has faded into obscurity from most of society with the exception of races that have extremely long lives or immortals like vampires. Was that on purpose? I think so. The person we're seeing today only really makes weapons for people that he believes have potential, and my family personally, not our organization. From the sound of it, he seems like a disagreeable person. He'll probably forge things for you, and I bet he'd be interested in some of the things your hero friend made. I guess we'll see. We arrived in front of a shop that was in the back of an alley. What's with all of the shops you like going to being in alleys like this? The sun rarely reaches this area except when it's noon, so it's optimal for vampires who have to visit here during the day. I guess that makes sense. We entered the shop and I almost sneezed due to all of the dust. It's like no one has cleaned this place for weeks. Hey old man Reve, you here? Who is it? What do you want? We heard a deep voice coming from the back of the shop. The person who came from the back was nearly 8 foot tall and had dark blue wings and tail. Aside from the wings and tail, he looked human with dragon eyes that matched the color of his tail. Oh, it's just the young miss of the Belmont family, and a friend of yours. When he looked at me, it felt like every one of my secrets was seen through. How interesting. Not every day I get a person I can't see the potential of. What's your name, lass? Luna Reed. Ho, the daughter of the general that was all the talk a few years ago. How intriguing. Name what you want, and I'll forge it for you. I have a main weapon, but I could use a decent dagger and some throwing knives for some backups. Mind showing me the weapon you're talking about? I took out the short sword Blake gave me all those years ago and showed it to Reve. Good craftsmanship, and it's perfectly fitted to your hand. The balance is perfect, and it requires practically no maintenance. Who was it that forged this? I haven't seen craftsmanship like this since my teacher. It was a friend of mine that was a hero who stayed here after the death of the King of Fiends. That explains it. Tell me his name and I'll go meet him someday. We'll have many things to discuss. His name is Blake Smith. He lives in the Shrine Village 2 weeks travel from here. That old place, eh? Been a long time since I've been there. Wonder how the place is holding up. I'd say pretty well, since I lived there for most of my life. I would hope so. Me and my teacher were the ones who helped in the construction of the place. Even got to see the goddess of the moon descend to bless the place herself. I narrowed my eyes a bit seeing the look in his eyes. And what did you think of the goddess when you saw her? Thought she was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Would have fallen for her if I didn't have a wife back then. I could hear a soft chuckle coming from Velvet, who was standing behind me. You're so cute, Luna, but you don't have to worry. I'm all yours for all eternity. It's not like I was worried about that. I just wanted to know his opinion about you. And your conclusion? He gets my respect for speaking the truth, even if he's understating how beautiful you are. You foo. Is this all you came here for, Miss Belmont? Miss Luna? That's all for my business. Velvet has something for you to look at though. I moved back to let Velvet speak. I need your opinion on my weapon. She pulls her sword from its scabbard. It gets caught a few times, showing that it is more damaged than it seems. What did you fight to get it to this state? An undead bear. When striking it, it felt like the bones were harder than normal for an undead. That'll do it all right. I'd say forging a new one will be better. You were due for an upgrade anyway, so it's a good thing you came today. I just got some good steel and some wyvern materials the other day. Then I assume it's the usual price? Yep. As for your friend here, I'll give you a discount for showing me a good weapon and letting me know of a smith that can match me and my teacher. So for all your stuff, I'd say 10 gold for all of it, including a special enchant on the throwing knives. What kind of enchantment? One that'll return the thrown knives to you after a while. It's an exclusive of this shop, so you're in luck that you met this little lady here. You know I'm an adult, right? Girly, I consider your mother a youngster, so don't correct me. Fine. I started to chuckle at their interaction. You two act like a grandfather and his granddaughter. I'd say grandfather with a few greats before it. Little lady. Fair enough. How long for both of our orders? I'll be done with both by the beginning of next week, so come and pick them up together then. Got it. Thanks. After a bit more conversation, we left Old Man Reve's shop and headed toward the alchemy shops. Author's note: this chapter is brought to you by coffee and sleep deprivation. Good morning or night, my friends. Thanks for reading. Walking with Velvet to the alchemist section of the Western District, we saw a group of people gathering. I wonder what's going on over there. Want to check it out? Why not? We walked over and joined the crowd. You know what's going on? Velvet asked one of the other bystanders. Apparently some newbie adventurers were trying to get a smith to forge them some weapons with parts they got from some monsters, but the smith in question won't help them because the materials are in too poor condition. One thing led to another, and now the smith is throwing them out of his shop. Everyone here is just watching the aftermath. Seems less interesting than I thought it would be. I agree. We started walking away when a person was thrown and hit me in the back. Really? I shouted. I turned to see who hit me and saw a guy who looked about my age on the ground unconscious. While I was trying to decide about what to do, a grumpy-looking dwarf walked up to me. Sorry about that, lass. Didn't think anyone was there when I threw this idiot out me shop. As long as you weren't trying to pick a fight, it's fine. Just watch where you throw people next time. That I'll do, lass. Anything you want as an apology? I looked over to Velvet and she shrugged, not giving me any ideas. Then do you know any good alchemists and apothecaries? Not sure about apothecaries, but there is a decent alchemist that is close to the Noble District. Shop's name is Python. Just be warned, the owner's kind of strange. Thanks. Think nothing of it, lass. He said this and walked away, leaving the adventurer laying in the street. Velvet, should we move this guy out of the way, or leave him? Just leave him. His friends will come and get him in a bit. Okay, then let's go find this python shop. We walked away headed to where the dwarf man told us about. It took about 2 hours of searching, but we found the place eventually. I guess this is the place. Seems a bit run down for the area it's in. I agree. Want to look for a different place? We were about to walk away when an owl-like man ran out of the shop. Are you two customers by any chance? Please come in, I need the business. Me and Velvet looked at each other and shrugged. Fine. When Velvet said that, the owlman looked up with an expression of joy on his face. Truly, thank you. We all entered the shop to find a surprisingly clean interior. If it's all nice in here, why is the outside like it is? I ran out of money to refurbish the outside when I bought the place a few years ago after I finished my training under my teacher. Wouldn't you normally fix the outside of a shop first, then focus on the inside? Normally, but alchemy tools are expensive, so I had to make a choice between those or the looks of the shop. Fair enough, I guess. So, what can I do for you ladies today? I'm looking for some poisons and some ingredients to make some. What kinds? I got a variety. Paralysis, sleep, plain damage, whatever I can get. Will these be used for nefarious deeds? I won't sell anything if they are. They won't be, but I don't think anyone would answer in affirmation even if they were. I guess that's true. I'll recommend the paralysis since it's the most effective stuff I have. Do you two need any potions or antidotes of any kind? I don't. What about you, Velvet? I could use some blood potions. Ho, a vampire, I see. I got a few of those but not many. That's surprising. I knew you had some, but there aren't many alchemists that sell them. You can blame my teacher for that. He had this obsession with vampires. Told me to always make some blood potions in case I ever met one. Hearing him say this reminded me of someone. Your teacher's name wouldn't happen to be Damien Crow, would it? It is. How did you know? So, it really was that pervert. Is he someone you know, Luna? In a sense, yeah. He's the kind of guy who would go after any person that walked on two legs and had a pair of breasts and had a big obsession with vampires and wanting to become one. While I agree with everything you just said, Miss, I can't let you just badmouth my teacher. Is it really badmouthing someone if everything I said is true? I don't really know, though now that I think about it. He never mentioned knowing a cute lady like you before, and he would have told me about meeting someone like you for days on end if not longer. Don't you know it's rude to ask about a lady's secrets? Fine then. Anyway, here are the poisons. I'll go and get the blood potions for you, so wait right here. Is this person related to your past life? Velvet asked in a whisper. Yeah, he's the other hero that stayed here. Miss, I only have 3 blood potions. Did you need more than this? No, that many is fine. Thanks. We paid for our things, but before we left, I wanted to know more about this alchemist, so I started talking with him. Before we leave, you said that you finished training under your teacher. Does that mean he's in this country? Nah, he liked moving around to different places. He only stopped to teach me because I was down on my luck in my old profession, and he told me I had a talent for alchemy. What did you do previously? I tried to be a traveling entertainer, but no one ever enjoyed my performances. Did the name of your shop come from Damien? Yeah, said I should name it this because of my name. Never understood why though. So, I'm guessing your name is Monty? Yep, I facepalmed. Ugh, I can't believe I have the same sense of humor as that pervert. I don't really get it, Luna, but it's alright. Thanks, Velvet. You okay there, miss? I'm fine. Anyway, I wouldn't think he would accept a guy as an apprentice. I think the only reason he did was because he pitied me. Always said something about how this world didn't understand good humor or something. He also asked me a few times if I've ever dueled a Black Knight. Have you? No, though I did find a sword in a lake once, but I left it alone. Felt like I would be stuck with some misadventures if I did. You never know. You could have become a king. Swords distributed by lakes are no basis for a system of government. Miss. Luna, are you sure you're alright? I'm fine. I guess we should leave. I still have some things to find elsewhere. Please come again. You're always welcome. Sure, and look out for rabbits in caves. Teacher said the same thing last time I saw him. We left the shop and I asked Velvet if she had anywhere she wanted to go. I was going to go to an alchemist to get some blood potions, but now that I got some, not really. Well, I got the ingredients that I was going to look for back there, so I don't have anything I need here anymore either. Though I can think of one thing I want to buy, but I don't know if I'll be able to afford it. What is it? Something for Tamamo. She hasn't said anything since we left Old Man Reve's shop, so I think she went off to do something. What do you want to buy for her? A ring. Something like that. I don't think you'll have to worry about price. Rings for married couples are priced so that even poorer commoners can afford them. You want to go to a specialty shop? I was thinking about going to that place recommended the other day. Dragon's Hoard? Yeah, that place. Do you know where it's at? I do. Let's hurry then if you want to give the goddess a surprise. Tamamo POV. I really want to go back to watching over Luna, but there are some preparations I need to make for her next visit. While making my way over to a certain place in the Divine Domain, I ran into Atmos. Well, if it isn't Tamamo, not watching your wifey for once? I'd love to be, but I need to get some stuff so I can prepare for our date on the next full moon. Whatcha getting and from who? If you must know, I'm getting some coffee from Java, the god of coffee. Ooh-hoo, going for the good stuff then, though I hope Luna can handle it. That stuff will keep her awake for years. Unfortunately, the effects of coffee are treated as a status effect, so it won't work on her, though she will be able to enjoy the taste. You would think it would count as a buff, but oh well. Does she know about that? I don't think so, but when she does learn about it, she might feel a little down. We made it to the god of coffee's domain while chatting and met him tending to his coffee plants. When we got closer, he stood up and greeted us. Well, this is rare. To what do I owe the pleasure of your visit today, Lady Tamamo? Hello there, Java. I'm here today to ask for some of your specialty blend. Oh ho, what's the special occasion? You hardly ever ask for something like this? I'm having a date with my future wife on the next full moon, and we thought to enjoy some coffee together. She'll be conjuring an illusion of a nice place, so I thought I should be the one to prepare the beverages. I see, then I'll give you some of my freshest batch for this special occasion. What about you, Atmos? Is there anything you need? Or are you just following Lady Tamamo again? Mostly just following Tamamo, but if it's not too much trouble, can I get some coffee as well? My husband has been asking for some for a while. Okay, I'll treat this as a favor to your husband this time, but would you hold off on your pranks for a while? Some of my subordinates have been complaining that you've been getting out of hand a bit. I'll try, but I make no promises. I guess that's the best I can do. I'll be right back. You really do need to settle down a bit, Atmos. You don't want the god of time to punish you again, do you? Yeah, I would like to avoid that. Oh, good on you, Luna. Way to take charge. What is Luna doing and why are you watching her? Don't worry, Tamamo. She's doing something in order to surprise you and I'm not going to ruin it. As for watching her, it's enjoyable. For example, she just met the student of the other hero that stayed in this world. He didn't try anything, did he? Nope, though I found Luna's reaction to his name kind of funny. If I remember right, he's the person you set up to find a sword in a lake for the sake of some obscure joke, right? Yep, though if he picked it up, he would actually have become a king. What am I ever going to do with you, Atmos? Nothing. By the way, you're going to really enjoy this date. Just don't fumble your words at the wrong moment. What do you mean by that? Oh look, Java is back. What do you mean, Atmos? Thanks, Java. Bye. What was that about? Her being her usual cryptic self. It really is hard for you sometimes, isn't it? It can be, but she makes life enjoyable, so it's fine. Thanks for this, Java. Anything you want from me in return? Not really. You hardly ever ask for favors like this, so I'm fine doing this for you. Just a heads up for the future. My wife will probably come here often, so please treat her well. Of course, I will. I look forward to meeting her. Till next time then. Author's note: BAM. New chapter. Please enjoy. Thanks for reading. After some time, we made it to Dragon's Hoard, and I managed to purchase a pair of rings. Velvet was right about them being affordable too. If people in my previous world knew about this, they'd be jealous. I mean, wedding rings that cost what a commoner would earn in a day of slow work is surprising. When I told Velvet about my surprise, I got a strange look from her. Is it really that surprising? Marriage in this world is really significant. You are literally tying the fate of two people together, so it would only make sense that a symbol of that fact should be affordable for anyone. I get that. Velvet, consider what I'm feeling, like a bit of culture shock. Though I have lived the same amount of time in this world as I have in my previous one, I haven't learned as much as I would like about everything. Most of this life has been training in the place I grew up in while learning enough common sense to passably enter society. I never had the chance to learn something like the price of wedding rings and other such things. I guess that's fair. Out of curiosity, how much did it cost to buy something like this in your previous world? There was a rule that said a ring to signify engagement should cost 3 months' salary for someone with decent income. Not that I know if anyone actually followed that rule. And that's just for an engagement ring? Yep, how dumb. I agree. After that we continued to chat about other dumb thing in my previous world that were better here, like the quality of air in the city and how you could actually see the sky at night even if there weren't any stars there yet. What are stars? I can explain this 2 ways for you. There is a detailed explanation that follows science, or I could go more mystical. Which would you prefer? While the scientific sounds interesting, I probably wouldn't understand it, so go with the mystical version. They are celestial bodies in the sky like the moon and sun. Some people believed that they could use them for magic, though anyone who claimed they could were frauds. That world has no magic that I was aware of, though I have started to doubt that a bit considering some small tidbits Tamamo has dropped here and there. Apparently, you can't summon people from worlds without magic, so there must have been at least some there, but I never encountered it until I was summoned here. Sounds difficult to live there. It could be, but people managed. Anyway, when you think of stars, think of the night sky filled with countless sparkling jewels, both small and big. In some mythologies gods would choose heroes, monsters, and other gods and put them into the stars and called them constellations. People could use these to tell the season as well as navigate both land and sea. Sounds like you really like them, Luna. I do. One of my favorite pastimes was to sneak out at night, find a good spot, and watch the stars until I got sleepy. I enjoyed making my own constellations and stories on how they came to be there. When I came to this world and found out that it doesn't have stars, I felt depressed for a bit. Then when I died and met Tamamo and learned I could stand by her side one day, I promised myself that I would fill the night sky with stars to accompany her moon. I think that's a lovely goal, and as your friend, I'll help you achieve it. Thanks. On another note, what do you want to do tomorrow? Go to the north or south of the city? What's there? In the north is places like the branch of the Merchants Guild in this city and other official offices for the government. Not really amusing, but still important if you ever take a delivery quest from the guild and need to go there for the item to be delivered. The south is like an entertainment district. It has theaters, parks, and other similar things, though it is also quite different at night. I'd say south, but let's go north first. Save fun stuff for last and all that. Got it. What about after that though? You'll still have a few days of off time. We can use that time for me to get used to teleporting. It slipped my mind for a while, but it still needs to be done. Got it. It was then that I thought I heard a click in my head. I'm back, Luna. I hope you didn't run into any trouble. Hey Tamamo, I said, my heart racing faster when I thought about what I just bought to give to her. Velvet noticed my change in mood and asked if I was feeling alright. I used my telepathy, hoping Tamamo wouldn't listen in. Tamamo is back. Don't mention anything about what we talked about earlier. Okay. She nodded in response. So, where did you go, Tamamo? You hardly ever leave like that. I was visiting the god of coffee, Java. I can't let you be the only one doing anything for our date. There's a god of coffee. Yep, he's one of the most important gods that hold one authority. I guess I'll be a regular customer of his then. I told him to expect that in the future. Thanks. Even if coffee has no effect on me, I can still enjoy it. You knew it has no effect on you? Yeah, though I only figured that out the other day. Who would have guessed that effects of caffeine would be treated as a status effect? Though now that I think about it, it was quite addicting in my previous life as well, so I could see it as a negative thing, I guess? I also ran into Atmos again. She has been popping up a lot lately. Doesn't she have anything else to do? She has always been like that, but I don't blame her. It's not easy being the goddess of fate. She sees the fate of everything she looks at and can decide how to shape it at her will. It's no fun knowing everything that can possibly happen to something, so when special things or people pop up from time to time, she has a hard time holding back. I guess she deserves more respect than I gave her. Not necessarily. If you do that, it'll go to her head, and she'll pester and prank you to no end. You should have seen her when she met her husband. It was chaos. She's married. Who? Velvet asked. The goddess of fate. Yeah, though only kings of countries know to who. Who is it? Tamamo? The last person to receive a divine protection, who went on to found the Adventurers Guild. He is also the person you're going to meet when you head to the Celestia Kingdom. I thought gods couldn't live in the mortal world? Normally we can't. He is an exception due to his authority as god of adventure. That seems like a kind of abstract authority to have. It is, but nothing any of us can complain about. It helps that he keeps Atmos entertained with people who can go against her authority somewhat. Who are these people? S-rank adventurers. They receive his blessing, which allows them to go against fate a bit, which, in turn, keeps Atmos entertained enough to keep from pranking other gods and goddesses like she used to. Though now with you in the mix, Luna, she has another outlet. As long as she gives the two of us space, and doesn't interrupt us like last time, I can live with that. I'll consider her like a troublesome yet fun older sister-in-law. That's good. Anyway, it seems Velvet is tired of being left out, so I'll keep quiet for now. Sorry about that, Velvet. It's fine. It's not like I can do anything about how you forget the world around you when you talk to the goddess or anything, or how you get this ecstatic expression on your face that make me jealous for various reasons. I'm really sorry. How about I treat you to something as an apology? It's not like I can be bought with food, though I'll still take you up on the offer. We continued on like this for the rest of the day until it came time to head back to the inn. When we got there, we went our separate ways and turned in for the night. Author's note: I hope you all enjoy some minor world building because that is what I needed to break up these chapters. I might make a small time skip to when Luna can go to the guild again in the next chapter, but I haven't decided yet. I really want to write Luna and Tamamo's date, but that will come in due time since I can't just write the fluffy parts all the time. That's enough rambling from me though. Thanks for reading. After that, Damien Velvet went around the north and south parts of the city. I got a general lay of the land, and after that we spent the rest of the time getting me used to teleporting. That experience was horrible, though I did level up my space magic to 9. My other stats are still listed as error, so I guess the god of statuses is still working on the system. Today we headed to the guild to finally start taking quests again. When we got there, I got a few wary looks from some of the adventurers, but I just ignored them. We headed to the counter and greeted Shuten and Ibaraki. Hello you two, long time, no see. Oh Miss Luna, Miss Velvet, it's good to see the both of you. before you continue anything today, will you please head up to see the guildmaster? I looked at Velvet, but she shrugged her shoulders, also confused. You need to go see him since he is the only one who can remove restrictions placed on an adventurer. Otherwise, you won't be able to take quests. I see, Velvet. Since I was the only one to have a restriction, will you look for a quest or two for us? Sure, any preference? Subjugation if you can. I want to move around a bit. Got it. We parted ways. Velvet went to the board and its hoard, and I went up to the 4th floor. I approached the guildmaster's office and knocked on the door. Come in. Good morning, Guildmaster Vince. Hello, Miss Luna. It seems you are in better condition than the last time we met. I am. Sorry for the trouble from last time. It's fine. Everything has been settled, at least for you. It seems that Baron Doofus's brother likes to kick up trouble a lot. Apparently, he managed to harass both the daughter of Duke Ash and the second princess before the Baron left. I knew about the incident with the Duke's daughter. I witnessed it, but I didn't know anything about the second princess. What was his punishment? He was disowned for the incident with Miss Ash and castrated and sent to serve under your father for the incident with the second princess. I kind of pity him now, knowing Dad. He won't last long during training, if Soleil doesn't get to him first. I thought, intentionally triggering a flag. It's what he deserves for refusing to learn his lesson and messing with the daughters of the 3 most prominent people in the country. Can't argue with that. Anyway, I have come to get my restriction lifted. Okay, hand me your card and I'll take care of the rest. I handed over my guild card and decided to ask, how has the strange undead situation gone? The guildmaster grimaced as he spoke. There have only been a few more sightings, but we did learn that it's the work of a powerful necromancer, possibly more. Anything on motives? No, but this isn't something you should worry about. I would like your help with purifying any undead you find, but you need to raise your level more. I can't have a promising adventurer like you die because you took on someone higher level than you. I see. I took back my guild card and made some small talk until I took my leave. It feels weird for people to think I'm weak due to my level. That's just how people in this world are. Most of them think level is everything with the exception of certain people like your parents and S-rank adventurers. They understand that base stats are more important since those don't have a cap to stop growing, unlike levels. I wonder how that is going to work when the stat system finishes its update. I don't know either. You would think the guild master would be aware that level isn't everything though. He probably is, but you constantly have the restraint skill activated, so you give off the impression of someone at your level. I forgot about that skill. How do you forget about a skill when you look at your status every day? I didn't mean it like that. I meant that I forgot I always have it active. I haven't fought anything for the past 2 weeks, so I got used to the feeling of it on, though that will hopefully change today. Are you going to try out your new knives and dagger today? Those and my short sword. I don't want to get rusty. I made my way to where I saw Velvet waiting. She had 2 quest papers in her hand. What you got for us today, Velvet? Wolves and goblins. I haven't fought wolves before, so that'll be fun, but goblins again. Really? Don't complain, we are still low rank. We can't take on anything bigger yet. Officially speaking, I guess you're right. Let's head out then. We accepted the quests at the counter and left the city. Once we were a good distance away, I grabbed on to Velvet and blinked us to our destination. When we got there, a sickening smell hit us. This place smells like rotten death. I wonder what happened between yesterday and today. I don't know, and I don't like it. Be prepared for anything, Luna. I conjured some purifying foxfire and made it float around me and Velvet in small fireball shapes. We hesitated for a minute but still decided to head into the forest. When I was talking with the guildmaster, he said that the undead were made by a necromancer, maybe more than one. Did he give you any other details? No, said if I was stronger, he would ask my help in purifying them, but refused to go any further. How does he not notice your strength? The restraint skill. Makes sense. Shoo, something is coming. Fast, get up in a tree. We jumped up into the branches of the trees around us and looked down. I could hear the rustling and snapping of bushes and twigs as whatever was coming ran in our direction. After a few minutes, a wolf that was heavily injured tumbled into the spot we were just at. It was bleeding from scratches all over its body and it was missing an ear. It tried to stand up again, but before it could, an eerie noise sounded. It was the rattling of bones and shambling of feet. 3 wolf skeletons appeared, followed by a ghoul. I looked over to Velvet and she nodded her head. I waited for any more undead to show up, but none did, so I manipulated my foxfire and aimed it at my targets. I shot the ghoul with most of the prepared foxfire since it was considered a mid-tier undead. It let out a raspy shriek before crumbling into ash. I then shot the remaining foxfire at the skeletal wolves, and they proceeded to turn to ash as well. The other wolf that was on the verge of death stared at the piles of ash before collapsing. We jumped down from our hiding places and went over to the wolf. It looked at me and I could tell it was begging to be put out of its misery. I drew my new dagger and knelt down beside the wolf. I stabbed it straight through the heart and it let out its final breath. I know we came here to hunt wolves, but this doesn't sit right with me. I agree that Wolf was a strange one. They normally don't show such intelligence or weakness. Maybe it was close to evolving. Velvet, we need to go and report to the guild now. I'm getting a bad feeling. Okay, we're going straight to the guild master's office from here. Are you sure? We don't have time to hesitate. They're a bit far off, but there is a lot of movement happening around us and none of it sounds natural. Let's go then. I grab onto Velvet and teleport away. POV, damn, I guess I need to move up the invasion early. I knew I should have set up shop further from the capital, but it's too late now. A robed figure stood in the spot that Luna and Velvet were at a few short moments ago. He lowered his hood to reveal a bald head and a fin on the back of his neck. Soon a black and purple magic circle formed under the man's feet. It's time to rise my army. We shall storm the city and make it a sacrifice in order to revive our king. There are no more heroes capable of destroying him left in this world. The magic circle started to shine brighter, and one could see similar light coming from the other forests surrounding the capital of Savannah. Oh, King of Fiends Raya, your humble servant will offer you a sacrifice most grand. Atmos POV, it seems like Luna will be moving on to the Celestia Kingdom faster than I thought. What do you mean, Atmos? I mean what I said. She's about to start earning experience by the bucket load if things go as I think they will. Is that stupid cult starting to move? Yep, and it just so happens that its leader is leading the charge this time. So that idiotic porpoise is finally ready to get killed. I think the god of death's curse finally eroded his mind enough to get him to stop thinking straight. Why didn't he just send out his apostle to deal with him? I told him to hold off. Unless, of course, you want your wife to remain in the same city for several years struggling to gain more tails. Would she really be stuck there that long? There was a high possibility. Once she gets her second tail, leveling up in this country will be too slow and she needs to get over her trauma of dungeons. If there wasn't a push like this, that damn porpoise would grow an even larger army and we would need to unseal those two to take care of whatever fiend he managed to summon. Thanks for looking out for Luna like this, Atmos. Anything for my sister's happiness. I really can't wait to see your surprise when she succeeds with her goal. Author's note, we have some plot-moving action today. My friends, I hope it wasn't too sudden a jump from slow peaceful things to actiony stuff. Please let me know if it was and I will try to improve in the future. Thanks for reading. We appeared in front of the guild master's desk while he was in the middle of some paperwork. When he heard our sudden entry, he put himself on guard. Guild master, we have a big problem. Miss Luna, what happened? We took a request to hunt in one of the forests and when we got there it reeked of death. We entered to find our quarry and found undead. We took care of them, but I heard large numbers of more undead everywhere. Something's happening and we don't have time to waste. Just then someone ran into the room. Guild Master, strange ominous light is coming from every forest around the capital. It's a mix of black and purple and getting brighter as we speak. The Guildmaster stood up suddenly and started walking to the door in a rush. We all followed him, and we ended up on the second floor of the guild. Everyone, I'm issuing an emergency quest. Refusal is not an option. Hordes of undead are about to come running to our walls and we need to stop them. Prepare as much as you can and head to one of the city gates. All the adventurers present started to run and get what they needed. Most of them ran out of the guild while others grouped up and started talking strategy. Luna, any idea on the exact numbers? No, but I feel like army is a better term to use than horde. I see, go and prepare then. I am going to contact the king and get him to issue orders to the knights and soldiers. Any idea which place will have the most trouble? I think the south. Any reason? Intuition. Good enough. After saying that he went back upstairs. The real reason, Luna, Tamamo and Atmos. Okay, Velvet. When we get to the gate let me give your sword a temporary enchantment with my Foxfire. You can do that? I think so. Foxfire feels like magic more than a skill, so I don't see why not. Plus, your sword won't be able to fully stop the undead efficiently. What do you mean? We're facing large numbers here. We're outnumbered. You won't have the chance to fight one-on-one. The more you take out at a time, the better. Fine then. We were finally reaching the south gate and saw a lot of adventurers gathering. A few of them were explaining the situation to the gate guards and they started to let the people who were trying to enter the city in quickly. I could see the black-purple light coming from the forest and a scowl crossed my face. What's up, Luna? I remember seeing ominous light like that before. When we were summoned, we were taught about fiend magic and shown an example with a captured fiend. It was the same colors. Damn it. I think I know who was behind this then. Who? It's a cult that worships fiends. Our organization is one of many that have tried to wipe them out, but its leader always managed to escape and rebuild his following. Why didn't you say anything earlier? I didn't know. Every time they appear, they use different methods to try and fulfill their objectives. My mother faced them last time and she told me they tried to destroy a coastal city with sea monsters and tsunamis. Before we could continue our conversation, the light flashed brightly and disappeared. Everyone that was here noticed and started watching the forest. Several moments of silence passed when I started hearing the clanking of armor and weapons from behind us. I turned around and saw lots of knights coming this way. Report, has anything changed? The person I assumed was the leader asked to one of the adventurers. The light has gone out. Whatever is coming is about to show up. Those of us with good hearing heard it first, the rattling and footsteps. We all looked towards the forest and saw tons of undead running this way. Velvet, draw your sword. She did, and I started trying to enchant it with my foxfire. It was easier than I thought it would be. Her sword was now covered in a blue haze that gave off no heat. That was surprisingly simple. Let's just hope it's as effective as it needs to be. All of the knights and adventurers left the south gate and it was shut behind us. No backing out now, not that I would have. You seem a bit excited. Luna, I am a bit. 2 weeks of doing nothing and now we're facing an army of undead. I have a chance to let loose with my magic and skills on full blast. Plus who knows how much I'm going to level up with this. Luna, calm down a bit. You'll get distracted in battle. Okay. After about an hour, we could finally feel the ground rumbling with the approaching army. I set up several balls of foxfire and surrounded myself with them. Those of you with magic, start preparing for a starting shot. Archers do the same. The knight leader called out. I could feel the mages around me condensing their mana and archer drawing their bows. Release. All of the arrows were fired, and magic flew. I called down bolts of silver lightning that crashed into the undead with explosive sounds. I also shot out some ice spears that hit some skeletons and then started freezing groups once they made contact. I couldn't help but grin. This is fun. Mages, archers, back up. They're getting too close to continue with bombardment. Vanguards, get ready. Velvet, you're up next. She didn't answer, only nodded her head, and readied her sword. Once the undead entered her range, she extended her sword and swung horizontally. The blue haze from my enchantment leaving traces in the air as well as on the undead hit or scratched by Velvet's sword. They let out silent screams as they were purified and turned to ash. Several knights and adventurers glanced in our direction but quickly turned their attention back to the fight. I pulled out my new throwing knives and covered them with foxfire and started throwing. I was given about 20 knives and by the time I finished throwing 10 of them, they started to return to me. My grin widened as I said, "Now this is convenient." They return after about a minute after striking their target. One ghoul made it through Velvet's sword's extended range, so I shot 5 foxfires at it. Thanks Luna, it would have taken too long for my sword to retract. No problem. Heads up, a second wave of skeletons is coming. I started to condense my magic and made a giant silver lightning bolt fall from the sky. It struck the group of approaching skeletons and ghouls, causing them to explode into bits and pieces. A few made it through but were shortly taken care of by Velvet and some other vanguard fighters. One of them got a bit overwhelmed in getting bit and scratched by a ghoul. I ran up, purified it, and dragged the guy to the backline. I used some healing magic on him. Thanks, miss. You're welcome. Now let's get back to it. We're nowhere near done. All right. He stood back up and ran right back into the fray. I started throwing knives again and we continued to hold off the undead for several hours. When we hit a lull in combat, I asked Velvet a question. How many are there? This is way too much for that forest to have hidden. Not if you think about how long it would take to prepare all of this. The ones who are the cause have been hiding for at least 60 years, so I think this is a reasonable number. It was then that a chilling howl sounded. Seems like a strong one has appeared. That was a curse wolf. Luna, those are bad news for normal people. You will be fine since curses don't work on you, but it'll be difficult for most others here. Then I might as well go take it out. Luna, stop. You're being reckless. You can't just charge in like that. She's right, Luna. You're getting too heated. Fine, but what should we do? Someone has to take it out before it causes a problem that can't be fixed. The knight leader came up to us and started speaking. I overheard your conversation. Is it true that curses don't work on you, lass? Yeah. He was mulling over my words when the curse wolf howled again. TCH. Lass, this will be a difficult fight. We will cover you so you don't get trampled by the rest of the horde. If you and your friend here can take out that wolf, do it. I looked to Velvet to see if she agreed with his plan, and she nodded. Not really many options left at this point, so let's go with that. Luna, refresh those enchantments on my sword. We're going to need them to be more than just a haze if we want to scratch that thing. I did as she said and we prepared for our toughest fight of the day. Author's note, here is a quick chapter for this morning. I don't like leaving you all on a cliffhanger, but I have life things to take care of so I have to. I'll try to write the next one when I'm done, so hopefully it'll be done today. Thanks for reading. I reapplied the enchantment of Velvet's sword over and over until her sword looked like it was made out of fire. Good enough? It'll have to be. What kind of curse does this wolf use? It negates healing magic if it's low enough level and causes the afflicted to slowly rot away from the inside. In other words, don't let it touch you. Pretty much. Any weaknesses we can use besides the usual? Bad eyesight, so it's easily confused. Guess I'm using some illusions then. Are the two of you ready, cause it's almost here? Velvet and I nodded in affirmation. Everyone keep these two safe from the rest of the undead. They're going to take care of the curse wolf. The wolf finally passed through the horde of undead and ran straight for the wall. I threw a throwing knife and hit its side to draw its attention to us. It turned our way and let out a dry bark, then it started to approach us. Let me know when, and I'll make the illusions. Make them flashy if you can. No point if they aren't. The wolf entered Velvet's range and she began her attack. Her sword extended hit the ground and ricocheted at a different angle, hitting the wolf in the stomach. The foxfire left a burning mark on the wolf, but it just shrugged it off. That's a high-tier undead for you. It was getting too close, so I blinked behind it and threw a few of my knives. They hit and it turned its attention to me, baring its fangs that dripped with a black liquid. It jumped at me, and I dodged its attack by jumping to the side. Taking advantage of that opening, Velvet hit it across the back with her extended sword. Before it could recover, I froze the ground under its feet, causing it to lose its footing. I then called down some lightning, but it moved out of the way just enough to avoid being obliterated. It still got hit, causing it to lose half its face. Luna, now! On Velvet's signal, I conjured several illusory Velvets with bright-colored clothes. The illusions spread around the wolf while the real Velvet kept to its blind spot. It decided to attack the illusions and got tripped up when its claws ripped through air. Velvet then swung her sword and it wrapped around the wolf, stopping its movements. The flames biting into it caused it to start roaring as it tried to bite through the metal, keeping it still. Luna, already on it. I was making more foxfire and shooting it at the wolf. I got in one lucky hit and a ball flew into the area where the lightning took off its face. It took several minutes, but eventually it started to turn to ash. Once it completely fell apart, the both of us ran to join the others, or at least we tried to. A robed figure appeared from the shadows and started yelling and laughing maniacally. Coo coo coo. Ha 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 ha, you insolent adventurers, you dare get in the way of the great YS revival. I will personally end you all. Then, I guess that's the cult leader? Yeah. Ho, not many use a weapon like that. You must be a descendant of those annoying Belmonts. I will start with you and your disgusting fox pet. I'm not a pet. The cult leader then started to rush us. I grabbed onto Velvet's shoulder and blinked us away. You think if we kill him, the undead will stop? Probably. That is usually how necromancy works. The problem is killing him. He has evaded death for a long time, so he probably has some sort of escape plan. You don't need to worry about that. The god of death cursed this guy a while ago and his mind has been eroded to the point that he can't plan properly. Tamamo said this guy won't get away this time. Okay then. Velvet, I'm going to use my mist to keep this guy confused. Think you can land some hits? I'll do my best. The cult leader charged again, this time firing some magic at us, but I blinked us away again. Stop running away, you disgusting fox. How about no? I started spreading mist around the three of us and soon all that the cult leader and Velvet could see was white. Velvet, I'm going to let you know where to attack like this. Right now he's still on our right. I'll blink to his other side and distract him. Swing when I tell you. Velvet nodded and I blinked away. I created some illusory versions of me and Velvet and spread them out. I lessened the thickness of the mist around one of the illusions and the leader attacked it. Velvet, to your front. She swung her sword and hit him in the back, ripping that part of his robes to tatters. I got a good look at the guy now. He had grayish skin and a fin on his neck and back that resembled a dolphin. There was also a hole just above where the fin part of his neck ended. Seeing that, I had an idea. Velvet, I have an idea, but we need to get him to slow down more. Swing your sword to the left and up. She did as I asked and managed to cut his leg deeply, causing him to fall to his knee. I was aiming a throwing knife for that hole and threw it. I managed to hit what I was aiming for, but before I could finish the rest of my plan, he released an area spell. The spell hit and dissolved all of the illusions and hit Velvet's side. Velvet, I'm fine. Luna, just finish it. There you are, Belmont. The cult leader yelled and started charging where he heard Velvet. I was pissed, so I put a lot into the spell I was conjuring. I raised both my hands into the air and brought them down. A giant pillar of lightning fell from the sky and hit the cult leader. When the pillar hit the cult leader, it traveled through the throwing knife, frying him from both inside and out. I continued to fuel the pillar of lightning with mana until I could feel it outpacing my passive mana regeneration. Since I wasn't focused on maintain it, the mist started to dissipate, and Velvet made her way over to me. Luna, calm down, I'm fine, it's just a graze. I stopped the lightning and turned to check Velvet's side. It looked like a large bit of Velvet's side was petrified. I immediately started using healing magic, but it was slow. Granted, it was probably faster than normal, but it was slow for me. After several minutes, Velvet's side turned back to normal. I was about to sigh in relief, but I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye. How is he still alive? You damn fox. I'll make sure to kill you, last. The great Waya will surely be revived, if I offer up your soul. Hee. Just die, you damn porpoise mongrel, I said as I lifted my hand and conjured a large ice spike and let it drop on him. It impaled him. Then I snapped my fingers and ice spikes ripped through him, making him look like a pincushion of ice and burnt meat. I then heard crumbling sounds all around us. Looking around, the skeletons started falling apart and ghouls collapsed like puppets with their strings cut. After a few tense moments, the knights and adventurers started letting out cheers of victory. At that same moment, I felt a searing pain in my lower back. I fell to my hands and knees and bit down on my cheeks to stop from screaming. Velvet looked back to me and started freaking out. Luna, what's wrong? She's fine, Velvet. Bring her away from there to someplace away from prying eyes. She didn't say anything and just did as she was told. She picked me up and brought me over to a shaded part of the wall. Goddess, what's wrong with Luna? She's reached the point where she gets her second tail. It is a painful process to be honest, but she is taking it quite well. When it happened to me, I passed out for a week and messed up the moon phases for a time. The pain kept getting worse and I could feel blood filling my mouth from biting my cheek so hard. I managed to pull a belt out of my inventory and started to bite down on it. What can I do to help? Just make sure no one comes over here. If you need to, set up a shadow barrier and talk to that leader person. Get him to send the others to the other areas of the city to see if everything is done there. But we took out the leader. Velvet, calm down and think. Cults don't have just one member. You may have taken out their leader, but he couldn't possibly have enough power to control hordes of undead that can surround a city. Fine. Velvet walked a bit away and put up a shadow barrier. Don't worry, Luna, it's almost over. Good job with taking care of that stupid porpoise. All I could focus on was the pain so I could barely hear Tamamo's words, but her feelings made it to me. After what felt like hours, the pain started to subside. Once it was gone, I spit out the now ruined belt as well as the blood in my mouth. I healed my cheeks and tried to stand up but couldn't. I was exhausted. Hey Velvet, are you there? I didn't receive an answer. Just rest for a bit. Luna. She went to talk with the night leader and then was dragged off with the crowd to the other city gates. She'll be back in about an hour. Okay, so, how does my new tail look on me? It makes you look stunning, even after hours of fighting. Ha ha ha. What did you think of your first real group battle? I feel like I could have done better. Thinking back on it, I was getting too immersed and I started to get tunnel vision. The whole time I only ever saw me, Velvet, and the enemy. You did rescue and heal one person. That's just because he was right next to Velvet. If he was a little farther away, I wouldn't have noticed at all. Well, now you know what to watch out for next time. True, now that I think about it. How did I level up so fast? I was at level 10 when this started, but I'm definitely at least at level 20 now. It's because you used your Fox Fire to enchant Velvet's weapon. Doing that treated her sword as an extension of your skill and gave you experience from her kills. It wasn't all of it, but it was enough to push your leveling to what an average person would gain. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. I wouldn't expect it to happen like that very often. Atmos had a little hand in this as well, seeing as the opponents this time were in large numbers and you had a skill that was extremely effective at dealing with them. Why would she do that though? I would tell you, but she asked me to keep it a secret. Okay then, I am feeling really tired, so I think I'll take a nap. I'll wake you when Velvet comes back. Thanks. Author's note: life stuff is done for the day, so here is the next chapter. Thanks for reading.